Welcome to the second recording in the brand new Planet Doug audio era. I call it that because I recorded the first audio track this morning just on impulse and because I wanted to find out how the audio post works on Patreon. I looked around for something to record and I realized I could go back to my written journal that I'd posted to Patreon already and I could read the journal entry. And then, in theory, if it didn't take a whole lot of time, I could post the written journal and then I could read it aloud and post it as an audio file, and that would serve two different types of people. However, when I was doing that this morning, I enjoyed it so much that I can feel the balance of my interest shifting away from writing and into just speaking and using audio for my ongoing journal rather than the written text. I haven't decided yet. It's just sort of a thought that I'm having. And just in case I decide to do that, and being something of a completist, I decided to go back and make an audio recording of all of the journal entries that I've written since I started working on Patreon. And then I will have an audio recording of everything and a written text version of everything right up until today. So right now I am going to read aloud my journal post from Monday, October 7th, 2024. I wrote it at 8:17 a.m. at Table 18 in the Paklang Kopitiam in Port Dickson. And the title of the post is Journal Post Struggles with Uploading Videos, Wi-Fi versus Mobile Internet. Luckily, this journal entry is a lot shorter than the first one. That first one I recorded this morning was 5,000 plus words long. This one is about 1,184. I should say not about, it's exactly 1,184 words. All right, here we go. This is the second morning of my restart of my journal habit. There are a couple of unusual things about this morning. One is that I was extremely tired and unfocused when I woke up, and that led to me forgetting to bring my reading glasses. Luckily, I keep a second set of glasses in my knapsack. However, this second set is stronger. I carry them around for when I need to look more closely at smaller things. I put on these glasses, and they help, but the laptop screen is still quite fuzzy because it is too far away for these glasses. This is making writing difficult. A quick aside here, I was typing this at a restaurant in Port Dickson, and as will become clearer in the journal entry as I read it, I started going out to all these restaurants and cafes in Port Dickson because I didn't have any Wi-Fi at my home. So I needed to go out into public places so that I could use their Wi-Fi or I could access mobile internet to upload YouTube videos. So I ended up going to this place called Paklang Kopitiam pretty much 3, maybe 4 mornings a week, and I would sit there at the same table from 8 in the morning until about noon. 8 is when they opened, and then 8 and noon, of course, I just couldn't. I'd been there way too long occupying one of their tables, so then I would get up and leave. And I'd have a couple of cups of iced cham, and then I'd have a meal, and then I would go. And that was part of my daily routine in Port Dickson. So, back to the journal. I fell into the habit of coming to this Kopitiam for breakfast because I needed to upload videos to YouTube, and my current room in Port Dickson has no access to Wi-Fi. I discovered that there were a couple of places around Port Dickson that had relatively fast speeds on mobile internet, and one of those places was the street right outside this Kopitiam. And after my first visit, I discovered that there was one table at this Kopitiam that had a good mobile connection. This table sits right at the front next to the open door and 2 windows. That means the mobile connection from the nearby towers is quite strong here. Plus, there is an electrical outlet beside this table. It is also a popular table, so I learned that if I want to sit here, I have to come early. I developed the habit of getting here before the place even fully opens. At 5 minutes to 8, I poke my head inside and smile at the staff and indicate that I wouldn't mind snagging that table right away. I don't need them to serve me yet because I know they aren't open, but I really want to sit at that table, and they have gotten used to me doing that. I got lucky in this habit because my mobile telecom company just happened to be offering a special where you get 100 gigabytes of high-speed data for 3 ringgit, which is about 70 cents US. I took advantage of that deal, and I came to this Kopitiam as many mornings in a row as I could, and I kept buying more data as it ran out. I needed that much data because my YouTube video files are huge. The full videos clock in at from 60 to 80 gigabytes each. I eventually met the owner of the Paklang Kopitiam, and he was kind enough to give me the password to their Wi-Fi. This Wi-Fi network isn't normally available to customers. Having access to Wi-Fi was useful, but I'm still uploading through a mobile connection if I could because it was twice as fast. I still ran into trouble, however, because the video files were too big. It often happened that I would upload 40 to 50 gigabytes of a video, and then, for no reason that I can track down, the upload would reset to 0 and start all over. So I would sit here for a couple of hours while the video uploaded, and then it would just cancel and start over from 0. And all of that time and all of that uploading was lost. And I lived in constant stress and fear as I was doing the uploading, because even if the upload would reach 79 gigabytes and there was just one more gigabyte to upload, it could cancel and start over. I was going out of my mind. The stress of this uploading got so bad and was taking so much time that I decided to try to re-export the videos and make them smaller. This was a bit ridiculous because all the source video clips were already gone. I couldn't re-export from the original videos. All I could do was take the 80 gigabyte export and import it back into DaVinci Resolve and then edit and export it again, but at 1080p instead of 4K. That would reduce the file size by 75%. And I would also export the video using H.265 instead of H.264, and that would reduce the size by another 50%. I did this for all the videos that I had completed, and then I went back to the Kopitiam and re-attempted the uploading. And then it went fine, and I was finally able to upload the video files. It's crazy how difficult the technical side of having a YouTube channel has been for me. My learning curve is not so much a curve as an endless circle. Progress never seems to be made as I go round and round. That being said, I do seem to have come up with a few fixes. One big problem I had in Vietnam was that my new GoPro Hero 12 was overheating a lot. Through much trial and error and gnashing of teeth, I finally discovered, here in Port Dickson, that shooting video at a high frame rate contributes to overheating. I routinely shot my videos at 50 or 60 FPS. I thought the video looked smoother and the colors looked better when I did so. This was particularly true with my GoPro Hero 9. What I didn't know was that if you shoot at 50 or 60 FPS, it produces far more heat, and it doubles the size of the video files. I didn't realize there was such a heavy penalty. I did my own testing in my room here, and after I reduced the frame rate to 25 or 30, the GoPro never overheated. In fact, the battery in the GoPro died before the camera overheated. It essentially never overheated, even when I was shooting in 4K. And I also learned that reducing the frame rate not only solves the overheating problem and makes the file sizes half as large, it also cuts the exporting time in half. And since the exporting time was now shorter, I was able to use H.265. Using H.265 makes the exporting time much longer, but it again makes the final video size much smaller. So it all balances out. Shooting in 25 FPS reduces the export time, and H.265 increases it, but those cancel each other out. And I end up with the benefit of a much smaller video size, which makes uploading possible. A funny thing is that when I made all these discoveries and told people about them, everyone around me said they already knew this. It seems that everyone else already knew that higher frame rates doubled the file size and caused cameras to overheat. But if everyone knew this, why didn't anyone ever tell me? All I do is talk about how my GoPro overheats and how my video files were too large. And everyone knew the solution, but no one ever bothered to tell me. It seems that the entire world knows all these things. People consider all this technical information to be common knowledge, but it's not common to me. And that is the end of my written journal for that day. As I said, I was writing, or not writing, I was typing. I guess that's writing. I was typing at a table in the Kopitiam, and I was busy uploading a whole bunch of YouTube videos, and I'd gotten to know the owner of the Kopitiam, and he would often come over to my table, and we'd sit and chat for a while. So who knows why I stopped writing at that point. Something might have interrupted me. But anyway, that was kind of a nice conclusion anyway, because I was babbling about all that technical stuff, and I managed to get to the conclusion. And I don't know how clear all of that was, but to summarize, maybe in more simple language, I was having a huge problem in Port Dickson uploading YouTube videos because I didn't have Wi-Fi. And then, for as long as I can remember, all of my video files were huge, and I always blamed it on the GoPro, because in my experience, GoPro video files are bigger than other video files, and then when I export the final video, they're huge, and I seem to spend my entire life doing nothing but babysitting devices as they're uploading. And I ran into this problem because, well, I had no Wi-Fi at my house, and my MacBook died, so I didn't have that to upload videos with anymore. And when I was uploading with a smartphone, the uploads would constantly cancel. And I assume this would happen whenever there was a glitch in the mobile internet connection. So if you have a video uploading to YouTube through a mobile connection, and then say you go walking around your city, the mobile connection will change from one tower to a different tower. And I think every time my signal would switch to a new tower, it would cancel the upload. Everything I uploaded would be lost, and then it would just start all over again from the beginning. And I just realized now, I was trying to figure out, okay, if I didn't have my MacBook anymore, how was I typing? And I just remembered that because my MacBook died, I got out my old Bluetooth keyboard. I have a Logitech Bluetooth keyboard, and I brought that with me to all these cafes and restaurants, and then I would set up my my tablet and then connect my Bluetooth keyboard. I may not have done it at this point. Maybe my MacBook hadn't quite died yet. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe the MacBook was still working, and I brought it with me to the Kopitiam, but I couldn't use it to upload any videos because it doesn't have a mobile connection of its own, obviously. And the data that I was using on my smartphone, I couldn't use it as a mobile hotspot. Yes, that's what was going on. It's all coming back to me now. I still had my MacBook, it was still working, but I couldn't use it to upload videos, so I had to use a smartphone. And that was leading to all of these problems. And then I was doing all of this research, doing all of this testing, all of this experimenting, and that's when I realized that if I make the frame rate, the FPS, smaller, it makes everything better. The camera doesn't overheat, and the file size are half the size. And then I learned that if I exported in a different codec, in H.265, again, the video files are much smaller. So before I made these discoveries, I was uploading videos that were 80 gigabytes, even 90 gigabytes. They were huge. But after I made all these changes, now I was uploading video files that were anywhere from, say, 5 gigabytes to a maximum of 20, depending on whether they were 1080p or a 4K. So I solved so many of my problems. But again, the thing that really jumped out at me and that I was talking about at the very end is that when I was talking to friends of mine, other YouTubers, and I was so excited about these discoveries and I told them about what I discovered, they all went, "Oh yeah, we knew that. Of course, everybody knows that." And, and of course, I didn't know that. And it kind of struck me that I talked to these people constantly about my technology problems. All I did was talk about my GoPro overheating and how my file sizes were way, way too big. And everyone I was talking to, they knew that if I changed the frame rate to 25 FPS and I exported in H.265, that would solve all my problems. Apparently, everybody knew this, and everybody listened to my stories all the time. I never stopped talking about this stuff, and yet nobody told me. So I'm still wondering about that. But it does happen to me all the time. And one of the things I was thinking about is that maybe it's because nobody listens to me. So I start going on and on about some technical problem I'm facing, and then all these people I'm talking to, they know what the solution is to my problem, but nobody tells me what the solution is because they all tuned out about 20 minutes ago. Nobody's listening to me anymore. And that's why nobody tells me about any of these solutions, even though they appear to be common knowledge. So that was so funny. Anyway, that was the end of that journal entry, and maybe I'll end this audio portion of Planet Doug with another little thought about recording audio, because I'm still kind of reeling from this discovery about how easy this is to record audio and how much I enjoy it. And I started thinking back to ages and ages and ages ago, before I discovered this audio thing, that I was uploading YouTube videos, and my problem with YouTube in general seems to be that I enjoy the nitty-gritty background stories as much as the real stories, or even more so. So when it comes to shooting a YouTube travel video, I'm more interested in the logistics. Like I'm not interested in showing some kind of a specially curated video that makes everything seem wonderful and incredible and amazing and showing nothing but the best of everything that happens in a day. My instinct is to tell the whole story. So, for example, if I was going to go somewhere beautiful tomorrow for a YouTube video, I won't start the video at the beautiful place. Like most YouTubers, that's what they do. They're going to go to a waterfall or a beautiful mountain. They don't film anything until they get there, and then they start filming the beautiful waterfall or the beautiful mountain, something like that. But my instinct is to start the video when I wake up in the morning. Like, today is the day, I'm going to the mountain, and here I am in my room having coffee, and I'm packing up for the day, trying to decide what to bring. I like to talk about all that stuff. And then, of course, you're overseas, and you have to figure out, how are you going to get to the mountain? And that's a huge adventure on its own. You might have rented your own scooter. You might have to hire a taxi or a tuk-tuk or a becak, something like that. And all of that is a lot of hard work. And for me, that's not only part of the story, for me, it's the most interesting part of the story. I mean, everybody has heard the old saying that it's the journey, not the destination. And my instincts are very much like that, that maybe the destination is the beautiful waterfall, but for me, the most interesting thing is the journey to get to the waterfall. To be honest, I'm not interested in waterfalls at all. I have no interest in them, but they're a very convenient destination. You want to go somewhere and have an adventure, well, you have to pick a destination. And a waterfall is as good as any other destination. So even me, for Planet Doug, I might someday grab my cameras and decide to go to a waterfall. But the video that I want to record is not the waterfall video. The video I'm interested in is the journey to get to the waterfall. And then, when I try to make my videos shorter, more compact, I have to leave out so much of the behind the scenes content. So then I started recording what I called BTS videos, behind the scenes videos. And I created a completely separate Planet Doug YouTube channel called Planet Doug Behind the Scenes. And then on those videos, I would sit down on the bed in my hotel room and just set up the GoPro. And then I would tell the story of what I did the day before. So maybe I went to the waterfall and I took video of that experience, but then the next morning I record a behind the scenes video telling the story of going to the waterfall and shooting the video. So it's almost like behind the scenes of behind the scenes. And I really, really enjoyed doing that. But part of the problem, or the biggest problem with that, is again, how long it takes to work with video. So the only way those behind the scenes videos make any sense at all is if you can edit them, export them, and upload them very, very quickly. And I can't. I struggle with that all of the time. So if, for example, I wake up tomorrow morning and record a 2-hour behind the scenes video just telling stories, it will take me 2 days to finish editing, exporting, and uploading that video. So now you've devoted 2.5 days of your life to just sitting down in front of the camera and telling a story. You didn't even go anywhere. You didn't even have a new experience. You didn't take video of anything beautiful, of anything interesting. All I did was shoot the video inside my low-budget hotel room, and yet I'm going to devote at least 2 days of my life to uploading that video. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But I enjoy that so much that I did record quite a few of those videos. And then I can't remember what the last one was that I did, but it's been a while because I just ran out of time. I stopped recording them at some point when I was in Vietnam because I realized that here I was in Vietnam, this brand new, amazing country, and I have no time to go anywhere or do anything because 100% of my time is spent just editing video. I could not get ahead of the curve. I couldn't get ahead of the ball, whatever the expression is. And recording those behind the scenes videos, that was contributing to it. Because the 2 days that I spent editing and uploading one of those behind the scenes videos, well, that's 2 days of being in Vietnam, 2 days of money that I had to spend for the hotel and food and everything else, 2 days of my tourist visa, and essentially, yeah, it was just eating up too much of my time. And then when I returned to Malaysia, I still had a whole bunch of videos from Vietnam I needed to edit. And then that basically turned into a massive project because of how long it takes me and all my troubles with uploading and editing and my MacBook dying 2 times and more problems. So, what I'm saying is that, well, I was thinking at that time that, okay, it's the video that is causing all this problem. So maybe I can record these behind the scenes videos as audio only without any video at all. Then I don't have to spend as much time editing, not nearly as much time exporting. And I think long ago I even posted a couple of videos to YouTube that were only audio. I thought of them more as a podcast than a video. But then people, of course, on YouTube, they want to watch videos. So they see something on Planet Doug, they click on it, and it's just a blank screen with me talking. It's audio only. People did not like that, to put it mildly. And I still kept thinking about recording only audio. I love audio. I love podcasts. I love storytelling. I love the simplicity of it. I love everything about it. But the problem was I was a YouTuber and I had no outlet for audio. I could record as much audio as I want. I have the gear to do it. I have the inclination to do it. But there was nowhere to put it. I didn't have a platform for audio. And then just this morning, as I was working on my Patreon, gearing up for a Patreon launch, I saw that they have an audio post type. Like for Patreon, you can upload written text, you can upload videos. Well, these are different post types. You can have a video post, you can have an audio post, you can have a photo post, etc. And I was looking at that going, hey, Patreon has an audio post. Maybe I can start there. And ever since I had that idea this morning, I'm just more and more happy with that idea. The audio that I recorded this morning, I uploaded it in like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, and it's just done. If you're not even going to edit the audio, you can do exactly what I'm doing now. Just hit the record button, speak into a microphone, and then you end it, save the file, and upload the file, and you're done. And if I can have an audio segment on Patreon, I find that very, very, very exciting. I really like that as an idea. And Patreon, even though I started the Patreon to go along with my Planet Doug YouTube channel, it's not exactly the same thing. Patreon is not just for YouTube. Patreon is for anything. I mean, you don't even have to be into anything online to have a Patreon. You could be a painter, for example, and you paint on canvas with real paint, but you could still have a Patreon, and on the Patreon, you give people a chance to be your patron, to support you financially while you paint. And that is the foundation of the whole idea of Patreon. And then, of course, that painter would come up with benefits for the patrons. If you support the painter for like $20 a month or something, maybe that painter will send you something in the mail. I mean, they could do things online. They could do what I'm doing and record audio. They could record video. They could write letters. They could do all kinds of things on the internet, but they don't have to. Patreon isn't restricted to that. You could offer them a benefit in the real world and say, well, you will give them a miniature copy of one of your paintings or something as a benefit for their support. Do you see what I mean? So Patreon is more about whatever it is you like to do. So in my case, I do enjoy recording videos. I enjoy traveling, but I also enjoy photography. I enjoy a lot of different things. I enjoy movies, I enjoy TV shows. I have a lot of interests. And then all of that put together is the Planet Doug brand. If that isn't too pretentious, it's like Patreon is for the Planet Doug brand, and YouTube is just one segment of that brand. There could be a lot of other things, not just YouTube. And that is why I like Patreon so much. And now, as I've discovered, Patreon has the possibility of giving a person an outlet for audio. And so far, this seems to be working out quite well. All right, so that is it for that journal entry. I'm not entirely sure how many I have online already, something like 20. So I probably have 18 more journal entries to record as audio tracks. But I'm looking forward to doing that. And I want to get all of them done before I launch the Patreon. And as I do this, I want to get a sense for, in the future, do I want to record my journal by writing, by typing, or do I want to record my journal in audio form? Or, and this is a possibility, do I want to do both? I could start with an audio file, and then there are programs out there that will transcribe audio. So I could record an audio journal like this, then I could run it through a program that will transcribe it for me, and then I could post it as text. So I could do both, or I could write it all out, and then as I'm doing here, after I've written it, I can read it aloud and upload it as an audio file, so I can have both. And I'm sort of assuming there's enough time in my increasingly brief existence to do all of that. That is what I would like to do. Anyway, I have a cup of coffee here that is slowly going cold, so I am going to stop here with this particular journal entry. Thank you for keeping me company. Thank you for being part of Planet Doug and the Planet Doug Patreon as I'm building up to a launch. And I will be talking to you again soon. Next time. Until next time.